Morning.
Ooh, morning.
Needs. It's a big one today. Yes, we have needs as humans, and far more than Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We're huge advocates for the work of Marshall Rosenberg, and we actually have hundreds of needs, and we'll pop the list inside the group in the file section. And today we're going to offer you up a little opportunity to step into a moment in your mind with someone really close to you. And as Ilka reads out a few of these needs and ways of expressing them, to consider yourself in that moment with someone close to you and how easy or challenging this may be for you, and what comes up inside you as she reads out these ways of communicating, which for both of us in the past were impossible, not even in our sphere of knowing, of possibility, because we didn't communicate like this in the past, and we're still practicing today.
Yes,
So
definitely practicing.
So head there right now in your mind with someone close to you.
Yes. So I'm sad. So that feeling, I'm sad and I need acceptance and communication. Imagine texting that to somebody or saying that to somebody. How comfortable would you feel? I'm sad. I need acceptance and communication. Because acceptance and communication are human needs. We need those things. Okay, the next one is I'm scared. I need compassion. Compassion is a human need. So I'm scared. I need compassion. And the third one is I'm hurt. I'm hurting. I need openness and companionship. Or it could be I need acceptance for that one too, and compassion, of course. I'm hurt. But yeah, these are all human needs. And I've had many women join our group, and they're like, really? Needs? I mean, Joe and I talk about this all the time. Really? These are needs? You know, most of us grew up where perhaps this is when you've been listening to this, if you're thinking about, go back and think about your own family and when you were growing up, the reactions to these kinds of sentences, not that you might have even felt safe to actually even use sentences like this, because
the risk of rejection was too great for me.
Yeah, risk of rejection, risk of them using it as ammunition against you. You know, siblings, oh my goodness, how good are siblings at gathering up something you've said and, using it to criticize, to judge, to mock, to walk away from you, they might take it personally, and they could gaslight you, like deny your feelings altogether. So say, oh, don't be silly, you don't feel like that. And, that always...
It's a bit familiar, that one.
Yeah, that doesn't go down well. So what I wanted to ask Joe given that these sentences, to start speaking in this way, there has to be a lot of trust between the person you are speaking your feelings and needs to. And I want to ask Joe, what was it like to... what happened in your family before you were learning this kind of communication style, and then what did you have to do really to be able to do that later? And then what happened?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, as we know, families will carry around their programs normally unless they are doing really like the big inner work on themselves. They've got all their little scared 3-year-old programs themselves. Our mums and dads, our aunts and uncles, you know, they're carrying around childhood programming too. So this expression that people don't change, well, they don't change unless they work on their trauma. You know, so it's not like you go back to your family and you start speaking openly and honestly, and they're going to change how they respond to you. So what's the go with that, Jo?
Well, from a very young age, I learned to not speak, and even as an adult to come to the awareness that I'm allowed to have needs was quite shocking and surprising and very, very confusing to me. And like from a young age, from 17 onwards, I was paying psychologists, and I recognise now it was just to listen to me. One, that in that 90-minute session with them, they weren't going to run away from me. They weren't going to criticise me. They weren't going to judge me, even though one did fall asleep on me, which is very, very challenging. But without being, I felt safe by paying a professional that I could speak to, because too many times I'd learned that if I shared myself, then I get shut down with like, oh, that's silly. You don't feel that. Like people telling me that I don't feel a certain way when I felt a certain way. What a great way to cut off from yourself, cut off from your feelings. And so to feel safe in those moments with the psychologists, the counsellors, the people I'd paid was very different, and like that sometimes that was 90 minutes per week was the only time I felt like I could be myself.
Yeah.
So the criticism mainly, the criticism of like you're weak, people who express their needs like I'm sad, that's a weakness. You cannot have that. What were some of the other ones? I'm scared. Oh my gosh, what a huge weakness. You're soft if you express things like that. Yet, what we know doing this work is like being an adult, it's just like watching a child when you accept them in the moment with whatever their emotion that they're going through in that moment. If you can be there and be fully present and accept what they're going through, they move through those emotions very, very quickly. And that's such a healthier way to be, rather than, like that's not weak, to go through an emotion and come out the other side really quickly. And then as kids, if you learn that, to be able to do that as an adult, you can get through stuff very, very quickly. I'm talking minutes.
Yeah.
But from what I did, suppress, and then all this stuff, like 47 years of suppressing, comes out somewhere. It's got to come out somewhere.
Yeah. So then that's a good lead in to know that children can process their emotions fairly fast, especially if someone's listening and willing to mirror back to them and to accept and allow their needs and allow their feelings. It is. They can get through it in minutes. So what did you have to do as an adult, Jo, to then be able to, like you've just gone off to and spent time with your family now, and you know your responses and reactions to them are very different now. So can you explain what had to happen for you to now be able to spend time knowing that they might criticise and things like that, but you can still be yourself around them?
So I had to go back into the memories of where I'd been shut down and really find acceptance and hear myself, listen to myself, be there for myself, and trust in myself. So go back to those really painful memories that brought up a lot of emotion because they have been suppressed for a long time, and accept myself and speak up and change those memories so that I am not reliant upon how they respond to me. So I don't have this thing inside me that is waiting for the rejection, the criticism. And now I can speak up, and I'm not reliant upon how other people respond to me for how I feel inside. That is the big thing, how I protected myself in the past. The best way to do that was to stay silent. Then I didn't have to risk them making me feel a certain way, because really they can't make me feel a certain way unless I give them permission to do so. I'm giving my power away. So, it wasn't easy. It took a while, and it took like going towards the pain, which is the challenging bit, going towards the pain, being willing to feel the feelings. Those feelings that I was told for many years are not real.
Yeah, not valid.
Not valid.
Not important.
What?
Yeah.
You don't feel that way. So I had to do that for myself. And in the beginning, in the presence of someone who knew how to be there, fully present with me, accepting, not make it about them. And now I can be in the company of my family and those close to me, and mostly speak up. It doesn't just stop here. I don't shut down. And it's gold.
And also then with people, you can know that the world has 9 billion people in it. Yeah, and I remember when I first got married, and they did a questionnaire with us, and it asked us, and this is back in my early 20s, so when I was living in the fantasy fairyland of probably mostly watching too many Hollywood movies, thinking that my husband was going to be my be-all and end-all to, my romantic life, my emotional life, my spiritual life, he was just going to fulfill my every need. Like, this was my head. And when the minister said to us, we had to answer these lots and lots of questions, including how many children do you want to have? And believe it or not, my daughter still finds it amazing that we had not discussed that yet. And we're, 3 weeks off getting married, or a couple of months off getting married. And one of the questions was, will your husband fulfill all your needs? Now, I knew the answer was no. I knew it logically. The answer to this question is no. But I could feel this deep resistance inside of me that said, yes, he's going, yes, I want it to be like that. I want it to be that. So the other concept that Marshall talks about with nonviolent communication is that it really, as adults, not very different for children, because for children, we decided to have children. So really, if we're there, to me, especially if you're in this group and you're being a conscious parent, it is your responsibility to, meet your child's needs. But you don't always have to be your husband or partner, therapist. This has to be a consensual agreement between you. And so even having a discussion about that, I can imagine for me, 10 years ago would have turned into some heated argument where I probably would have ended up walking out and slamming a door, because I just did not know how to speak. I had not had it demonstrated to me growing up how to speak from your feelings, from your emotions, to even expect that your needs would get met. And I'm sure, and my parents had even less training in this. So it's not their fault. Like, everybody's evolving and doing the best they can. But it's a massive step forward to, start speaking from, as Marshall would say, from your heart. He calls it like the giraffe language. And the other puppet that he uses is the jackal. And the jackal is like the one who's the authoritarian, the really like the judgment, the criticism, the
gaslighter.
The gaslighter. And that in our culture, that is really still the prominent way of speaking in nearly all systems. So this is a massively, it's like, to me, I say it's like learning Chinese, like if you don't speak Chinese, because I even reading these out to Joe this morning, I said, I still feel a little bit awkward, like reading this out loud. I'm sad. You know, my childhood, there was, you don't speak that way. It's not going to end well. So
And
yeah.
one thing that's big, and our recent post was, are you healing your childhood trauma or handing it down? And this is what I did. Even though I was so adamant that I wouldn't hand those behaviours down to my children because I knew how hurtful it was to me to be shut down emotionally, I did it with my kids. They would, and my husband. You come to me and you want to be emotional, and I'm doing shutdown. I'm doing go away from me. I'm abandoning them when they most need me, and all the while, my heart, my soul didn't want to recreate those things because I knew how painful it was. Yet subconscious programs take over, and I did. I recreated them until, like we say, our kids are our greatest teachers, until, the poop hit the fan. And I pretty much chose then to start looking at my own programs and healing myself so that I could change generational patterns.
Yeah, and that's why, like, we really do honour and, like, to the people who come along, the mums and the dads who come along and do their inner work and start changing these childhood traumas so that they can, because I'd read Marshall's books, I read them probably 10, 15 years ago now. I started reading that stuff. I found the old CD cover in my bookshelf the other day. It's very ragged edges on it. It rolled around in my car for many years. I listened to his audios, and it was all about speaking peacefully and calmly. But until I cleared up my own childhood trauma, I was like Joe. I would often pass down the very thing I didn't want to do to that I hated as a child. I would do it to my own children, especially in the moments I was triggered. And the other thing I wanted to say too was just busyness. Like, I'm too busy. I'm too busy right now to hear you. Like, we've got things to do. We've got to get out the door. We've got, and yet, like, I know with my grandchildren, and if I had my time over again, the slowing down of life, that everything is about this connection. I've learned, get older, you get wiser as you get older, and that's maybe why grandparents, finally start to really mellow, because they start to get it, that life's too short. Like, it's the connection will solve everything. So taking another 5 minutes because you might be late to playgroup, or you might, you miss half an hour of school, and oh my God, Ilka, you can't say that. But really, I truly believe, like, again, Gabor Mate was talking about, they've worked it out now. It really is the childhood stuff. If your needs are met, you don't have to find ways to meet them in other ways. You don't have to manipulate. You don't have to find, you don't have to go beyond yourself to try and do that. And that's where all of us start to learn to not be ourselves, by not having our needs met. So if you can start learning as an adult, get a copy of Marshall's book, watch some of his videos. There's I can post his brilliant 3-hour workshop below this video today, and start learning how to speak more self-responsibly, being more open, more honest. And if that's difficult, then there's work to do.
There's work and that's why we talk about, when we say integrating, when we're little and we've learned to shut down or behave a certain way to be accepted by a parent or someone close to us, then a little part of us is cut off or suppressed. And those are the pieces that we're bringing back or reintegrating or healing as an adult. Those little bits and those little traumas, you might think, and this was something that I did, because I said, well, I had a good childhood. We were safe. We always had a home over our heads. We had plenty of food on the table.
You had Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
But like emotional needs, no. Emotion, not having emotional needs met is big T. It's big trauma.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm just so, again, as I often say on these videos, I am so in awe of the parents. I have many parents now who both parents are showing up to do this work, and it is like, oh my God, it just is incredible to me. Just warms my heart so much. I can't say enough about if both parents are willing to look at the reasons that there's always childhood reasons that you respond and you're triggered in certain ways. And so if you're both learning how to clear those up and both learning how to, speak from your needs, speak from your feelings, like the world, to me, like that expression, the world is your oyster, because that's what life's all about, is this growth, this learning together.
And that's why it's no surprise that we attract the type of person we attract, usually because there's an opportunity there to heal a part of ourselves, like they're showing up as our, oh my gosh, is that my father? Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, that's a good topic. We've got to do that one again sometime.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you guys for watching, and check out the needs list. Maybe this week you could have a go at even like walking around your house and saying, I need compassion, I need companionship. It's like, even to say it out loud is a huge step. I need acceptance. Because and how cool for your children to start hearing what their needs are, to start hearing those words, because they know, of course, children are all amazing at knowing that they need things, that they're our teachers, but to hear the adults in their life speaking the words and getting a language around this, oh my goodness, so amazing. Like some of Marshall's stories about his son and that, like, it's just because he started some he calls them giraffe schools, like speaking from the heart, and they're just brilliant. There's one in the workshop, so if you watch that, you'll hear that. Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you for being here and, choosing to do things a different way, because it is relatively new to face our own stuff.
It is, and to speak this way is really, really new, new. And as much as Marshall's work has gone all over the world, and he's started, groups everywhere. There's nearly one in every city, so you can join nonviolent communication groups. But, it's still so new. We're still babies in learning this stuff. He's done
really powerful work within, like, warring communities to bring peace where terrible things have happened.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Absolutely. So, yay!
We'll see you again next Wednesday.
Thank you so much.
Have
a
great week.
Yeah.
Practice. I need,
yes.